my first interactions with Antonio Brown was probably around that 2000, maybe like 2013, and it was the Edinburgh Sports Auction. So they have every 2 years they have an auction to raise money for Edinburgh University.
And that would have been kind of when he was starting to break out and was popular in Pittsburgh, but didn't have like that top 5 or even top 10 stats.
Right, and he wasn't the line art that I always draw him at is the Dancing with the Stars line. Is that when Antonio Brown went on Dancing with the Stars, he became this social media freak. He became this pop phenomenon from that show, just because it draws from a different pool. And I honestly believe that was when his attitude changed. I've posted numerous times on Twitter a video that ESPN did where Antonio Brown was, again, younger in his career, and he had a breakout couple seasons already, and there was a video of he had said something along the lines of, anyone who can't make it to training camp or comes to training camp but I don't have a chance to sign an autograph, mail me something to me, to camp, to Latrobe. I'll sign it and send it back. And he was getting, thousands of things mailed to him at training camp. And, one of the angle that ESPN took in this feature piece was that one of this former military man who was living in Hawaii sent him a letter, saying how he's such a great role model and all of these things. And he included some sort of Medal of Honor that he was giving to Antonio Brown.
To keep.
And the way that Antonio Brown was reacting to everything that was happening was genuine. It was a love for the game of football. It was a love for the fans. That's gone. And if you watch that back then, if you find that piece that ESPN did, and again, it was probably in that neighborhood of when I was talking to him, you notice a totally different person. And some people say, oh, he's in the early stages of CTE. And some people, I'm drawn to that specific time period of the Dancing with the Stars thing because I think it made him bigger than football in his mind. And that was when all of a sudden all these things started. So I go back and I think of when, oddly enough, Ryan Clark and Antonio Brown were the two guests at this auction. And I interviewed Ryan Clark, who's one of the best interviews I've ever done in my entire life. Just a great guy, and he's now an analyst, obviously, for that network. And I interviewed Ryan Clark one-on-one, and then the next sports segment I was going to interview Antonio Brown, and there were it was the part where a bunch of the sponsors were coming in and getting autographs. So I said, you know what, I'm not going to pull them away from the sponsors. I said, Ryan, why don't you sit down, you interview Antonio, and we'll run that live. And then they did that, and then they did a tape segment for our Friday Night Lights show. It was priceless stuff, and the ironic thing now is that those two butt heads because Ryan Clark can't stand the guy, and it works both ways.